Welcome back, everyone, to another Reddit Stories. We're back to reading a Tales from the Pharmacy. I had to take a little bit of break from the channel, but I'm back. It was a nice break. My boob is only producing powder. We returned specialty formula to McKesson since it was sitting on our shelf for over a month and have inventory next week. Of course, the patient comes in on a Sunday demanding it. I only have 1 can left. My baby is going to starve because of you. Do you see this? Shaking Boob furiously. This one is only producing powder. How am I supposed to feed my baby? Sometimes I wonder if my story is stuck inside of a weird Bermuda Triangle of freaks and geeks. Who shakes a boob angrily? Maybe you can mix that powder into water and use that as formula? Or maybe pick up the stuff when we order it in a timely manner? But no, my pharmacy is your pantry. So, the typical pharmacy that I worked in, at least, contained a couple hundred different kinds of medications, various strengths and quantities, whatever. But it's that exact notion that I'm going to bring in a prescription and you're going to have exactly what I need. I know that for the longest time we stopped carrying, I think it was midazolam. It's one of those dentist liquid medications that only a couple pharmacies would have, but you know, people would come in with a prescription and we'd be saying like, we don't have this. And people would always get upset like, what? You're supposed to have everything. But another similar situation, what would happen is if you had a partial out of medication. Partially out of medication just means we don't have the entire amount of the prescription on hand right at the moment. So we'll give you like a 5-day supply of it to get you through and give us enough time to actually order it and get it in. And when we do that, when we partial it out, we just give you the medication. We don't charge you, and then we charge you for the entire amount when you come back. So many times that we would give someone a 5-day supply, and then we're only legally allowed to keep a prescription ready for 10 days because insurances and stuff like that. Then we'd have people come in like 12 days later for their medication and be like, we put it back on the shelf, and then we'd have to get it ready for them again. So they essentially get free that first 5-day medication for free. Which brings me to a story. Where we had this customer come in and needed to get their 3-month supply of Flovent. Flovent is a powder inhalation thing for people with like lung problems. Anyway, so it comes in a pack of 30, so we can't break that up. We can only dispense it as a pack of 30. Well, this one lady came in and she was furious that she couldn't get her full 3-month supply. We said, we can get you a month supply. But no, she wanted the full 3-month supply. So my pharmacist took it upon herself to give her that 30-day supply and use it as a partial, and which is something we're not supposed to do just because people never come back and pick it up. And then this medication's like $400. So if they don't come back, we lose out on like $400. Well, $350 or something like that. And lo and behold, the lady came back a month and a half after she got that partial to get the other two prescriptions of Flovent. She came over to drop off where I was, and I didn't know anything about this. So she comes in, she says that she wants to get her prescription of Flovent, and I see that she only has 2 more boxes on her prescription. And I try running it for 1 month at a time, and I don't know, her insurance is weird. Her insurance would only allow her to get 3 months at a time. So I tell her, well, we only have 2 more boxes left on your prescription. And she says, no. You guys partialed it out for me about a month and a half ago, and I'm coming back to get the other 2. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, holy crap, who partialed it? And I see that was my manager, that the pharmacist partialing it out, which was stupid, but I mean, it's whatever. And I just look at her and I say, well, you never came back and picked up the other 2. We had them ready for you. She's like, yeah, I didn't need him at that point because we're your pantry, of course. And I just said, well, your insurance won't allow us to run it up for 1 month at a time. And we've already given you that 1 box. So the only way that I could dispense any more to you is if I give you 3 boxes. But you don't have 3 boxes left on your prescription. So we'd have to call the doctor and get an additional refill or whatever. And of course, this is a Friday night, 5:30. No doctor's office is going to be open to give any refills. And she starts getting mad at me. And I just tell her, I can give you the 2 boxes. I could sell you the 2 boxes. But if you want your insurance to pay for it, you're going to have to get 3, and you don't have 3. Then she complains about how she already got the 1 box, so that should count. And I just said, no, you got that 1 box for free. You never came back and picked up anything else, so we can't charge you for that box. So you got $400 worth of medication for free, which is not the right answer to tell her, because I just pointed out to her, just saying, hey, we're losing money by helping you out. What we did, we lost money. And you didn't come back in the 10 days, which you should have, which we obviously would have told her to come back, but no one ever listens. And now she's getting furious at me because I'm pointing it out, the fact that she basically stole $400 worth of medication from us. I wonder why I got fired from Walgreens. I just hate these customers that come in and think that the pharmacy's a pantry. We special order something in for them, or we do something out of the way and tell them that they have to come back at a certain time, and they don't. And then it ends up being our fault. Anyway, I digress. Strange refill request. Short story, but really funny. A lady came in asking for prescriptions to be refilled. She said that they were expiring next month. I assumed she meant she was running out of refills. I look her up and she didn't have anything recent. I asked her what the name of the medications were. I looked for them, and it turns out that we had filled those for her back in 2013. I asked if her doctor had sent in a prescription for her, and she said no. She was expecting us to do a refill on prescriptions she had not had for 6 years. Yeah, I mean, assuming that she had been taking that medication for that long of a period of time, that medication had definitely been expired. But typically, a pharmacy will only give you 90 days worth of medication at a time. I think the maximum that you can do in a pharmacy without any special circumstances is 100 days. You can get up to a year supply at a time if it's a special circumstance, if you document it. The FDA specifically says that only in special circumstances if you document why, like if they're going out of the country. We've had that happen with Mormon missionaries here in Utah where they need their medication and they're going out of the country. They're going to somewhere in Europe or Asia or whatever, and they need their medication, so they'll write them a full year supply at a time. And we've had to fix it with the insurance to get them a year supply at a time, but it does happen. But 6 years? No. That lady had to have been out of her medication for a while, so being out of her medication for a while and deciding that she wants to go back on the medication without making a doctor's appointment, I sometimes wonder what people think when they do requests like that. Like a number of times I've had it where a patient would say, hey, can you call in a refill request for my medication? And realize that they're out of refills on it. And the last new prescription they got was over a year ago. And I tell them, yeah, I can send them a request, but they're probably going to want to see you first. Usually doctors' offices, once you're out of those refills for a year, they want to check up with you and make sure that, you're doing okay. But, they'll say, request it anyway. And then we get a message back from the doctor's office saying, no, they need an appointment. So, I think the best is when they say, oh no, if I call them and request it, they'll just want to see me first. Can you request it? And I'm just thinking like, what? Like, if they're going to want to see you first, they're not going to authorize refills, but whatever. So, you know how Facebook updates you and say, hey, remember this story that you posted 10 years ago or 9 or 5 years ago? Well, a few days ago, it showed me this. I made this post less than a month after I started working in the pharmacy in 2011. Customer: you guys need to know which medication my insurance covers. Me: there are hundreds of insurance policies. There's no way we could keep track. I know that. I'm a tech myself. Then you know how it is. I know which insurances covers medications. Except for this medication, right? Then the customer gives me a blank stare. Okay, so a correction. There are probably not hundreds of insurance policies. Dozens are probably more appropriate. Maybe hundreds. But in the local area where we're going to be working, dozens. But in any event, like this person claims that they're a pharmacy tech and they know which insurance policies cover which medications, which is total BS. There's no way, unless it's like Medicaid, like a state funded where they really just have the one policy. then you could probably be like, this one's probably covered by Medicaid. But if it's a private insurance, there's just no way of knowing any of that information. But just to kind of show you, even, 9 years ago, or math, 8 years ago, I knew that it was going to be kind of an uphill battle fighting dumb customers. And I stuck with it for 7 years before I got out. Ugh. Thank you all for joining me on another Reddit story thing. Tales from the Pharmacy. I just want to thank you guys for bearing with me while I went on my unannounced or unplanned vacation from the channel. I just needed to take a little bit of a break and just kind of focus on sleeping. So anyway, just want to say thanks for kind of sticking with me. If you guys liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and if you haven't subscribed, then why not? It's down, the button's down there somewhere. Anyway, thanks again, and I will see you in the next video. So until then, later, kids.